All right, welcome back. This is Inside Pages on Metro Television. My name is Audu Moro. It's a pleasure knowing that you're still with us. We've just gone by was a powerful, very important presentation made by Mr. Joe Jackson, who is a financial analyst. But more importantly, he is the Director of Strategy and Operations at Dalex Finance, a very good friend of the media and especially Metro TV here. So from time to time, he comes here to help us understand matters on finance and the economy. And he's done just that, justice to the state of the economy. Of course, he can't walk us through everything, but he sort of walked us through the broad strokes in terms of what he believes we ought to know. And then also looked at what his expectation is. And on Tuesday, when the finance minister appears before Parliament to update us on where we are in terms of the economy and what we're going to be doing going forward. I did indicate in the beginning of the show that the finance minister has done something it's unprecedented. He's met the House or the leadership of the House in what appears to be a charm offensive. He's trying to get the buy-in of the members of the legislature, in order that he has a smooth ride on Tuesday, a takeoff, and also, of course, at London on Tuesday when he appears before the House. We don't know the outcome of that meeting, but we sort of have some, some idea, if you like. One of the things we've heard the MP say is that, well, he came and walked us through what to expect on Tuesday, and so. But we just told him that our main concern has to do with the statutory obligations, Gets Fund, NHIS, all those other things that by law we're supposed to be paying. But it is not happening. MP's Common Fund is not happening, and the MPs are saying that it's really affecting them in their constituencies. And so they are telling him that on Tuesday they want to hear him say he is going to clear the backlog. So that's for them is what they want to hear. And they also didn't want to hear him introduce any tax. So we'll see how that pans out on Tuesday. But if what Mr. Joe Jackson is saying is anything to go by, the fact that we're racking up more debt, we're piling up more debt, and yet we're not generating as much revenue. We've seen e-levy and all the other ones that have come on board, but we're still not generating enough. We've seen some semblance of taking the collection of property rates much more seriously. A few levies here and there have been introduced and so on and so forth. We've seen import duties going up at the port and so on, but still the company is struggling to meet its revenue targets. And so he wouldn't be surprised if the finance minister comes and says, Charlie, we still need some more money. And so we need to tax you a bit more, because the IMF is supervising this particular budget. Yes, the IMF is taking key particular interest in this budget because we have some benchmarks that we need to meet so that we can access the next tranche of the monies that are going to be giving to us as Ghanaians. So it's a crucial budget, and every Ghanaian must watch and listen on Tuesday to see how it pans out. I'll just take brief comments from my resource persons who join us, apart from Mr. Joe Jackson, who's had his take. Before we go to CECILIA DAPAAH and look at what's happening with the CECILIA DAPAAH, there have been some latest developments. We'll walk you through that. So, Nani Ajanto, the General Secretary of the CPP, she's here with us. Good morning, madam. Thank you very much for joining us.
How are you?
And then also, I'm fine, thank you. And then also, Lawyer Randolph Chumesi, we want to make him Metro TV's dependable and reliable legal practitioner. Unfortunately, we don't have money to pay him, but he's okay. He believes in pro bono services, and that's why anytime he has time, he joins us to shed some light on legal matters. That's that. He's not a politician; he's a lawyer. That's it. So you must understand. He speaks just law. That's the language he understands. And so, Randolph, good to see you. Good morning.
Good to see you, Audi.
Wonderful. Good morning. So, but he's Ghanaian. So he goes to the market. His wife goes to the market. Well, he has sisters, he has family who go to the market. And so he can tell us how he's feeling about the economy. There's economics and there's the economy. We've got to separate the two. So, Nania, from what you said, do you have any expectations going on Tuesday? Any taxes you want removed? First of all, how's the state of your economy?
Half for the state, you know already. I don't have to tell you.
Really? Well, maybe I'm fine. You never know. I haven't said that too.
Good morning. Good morning to your viewers. Good morning to my big brother Joe Jackson. This is the first time I'm meeting him. Right. I've been watching him on TV. Good morning to my lawyer.
Randolph.
Yes, I've said that he's going to represent me.
Okay.
Soon.
All right.
As we go along. But you see, Moro,
okay,
the people who need the lifestyle audits is the government.
Really?
Yes. They need a lifestyle audit.
Explain.
Because they are not prudent. All the money that we are raking in e-levy, COVID levy, taxes, still we can't see anything.
Right.
We are still broke. We are still borrowing. You get me?
Right.
So they need a lifestyle audit because you see, when you are creating and amassing wealth and it doesn't show, then it means that there's a problem. The people you are ruling don't feel it. Then your lifestyle should be looked at.
Right.
How prudent are they? I believe that on Monday.
On Tuesday, actually.
It's Tuesday.
It's Tuesday, yes.
That's first of
30. Oh, it's 31st. So that should be Monday, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, so that should be Monday. Sorry.
The finance minister, yes, it's good to. Me, I'm a Christian, so it's good to tell us about the Bible and all, but you have to also leave the Bible.
Right.
You get me? So the finance minister should be able to come and tell us truthfully.
Okay.
The measures they have put in place to be prudent.
Okay.
Prudent measures towards restoring the economy.
Okay.
They should let us know how much has been accrued with the e-levy and steps to abolish e-levy. Because they said that once we have e-levy, we are not going to IMF. And now we are in IMF, so you don't need to keep e-levy.
Okay. So scrap it.
It should be scrapped.
But this is a time when government desperately needs a lot of money.
I am saying that if they need money, they should look at their lifestyle. When Mr. Joe Jackson was talking, he talked about bloated government. And when they talk about the government being bloated, I don't look at the ministers. Those are statutory constitutional requirements.
Okay.
You go to the Flagstaff House, you have all manner of positions.
And then how much money can we save even if we trim down the size of government? Government itself has asked this question several times.
It does not matter. You save little by little at every sector.
Okay.
You get me?
Right.
Little by little, and at least you see that you are making an effort. The government should also come and tell us, mid-year review, that the 600 million that they have collected from IMF, what have they used it
the money for?
It is key. You see, we are paying for that money.
True. It's not free.
It is not free. You and I, everybody else is paying. So they should come and tell us step by step how they have used the money. You get me?
Right.
How they are going to bring confidence back into the Ghanaian economy, into our currency.
It's very crucial.
Because you see, every day people are hoarding money at home because the financial sector, there is no belief in it.
People have lost confidence in the financial sector.
I said belief.
There's no belief.
Yes, because the confidence is that we don't even think it exists.
It exists.
And government is the first culprit because apart from Auntie Cecilia, there's also another lady, something new.
Yes, 141,000.
Yes, in her home.
Presidential staff, yes.
So it means they themselves running the economy. They don't have confidence in our currency. So he should come and tell us how they are going to put measures in place to reduce inflation.
Okay.
To ensure that our currency gains the strength that it needs.
It has enjoyed some relative stability, isn't it?
Please,
11.25 to the dollar.
Please, we shouldn't even go there.
Let me go to Randolph briefly. Randolph, how's the state of your economy?
How do you? I mean, like I stated earlier, we are all as the chief examiners of the economy. And the economy, in simple terms, is the state of our livelihood.
Right.
If you have 5,000 cedis today, and you go to the market, and the 5,000 can afford you, let's say, a bag of rice, and tomorrow you go and the same 5,000 cannot afford you a bag of rice, that is your state of economy. Then the question will have to be asked, what has happened? Why are things increasing at such an astronomical rate?
Right.
Then you come back to the government. As Nana has said, monies have been taken from us, given to the states. We need to be informed, or there's a need for the state to account to us on how those monies have been used. That's one. And if the state wants all of us to rally behind it and give more money, we need to be assured that the state is also ready to cut its expenditure. Because you see, the issues and the call on managing the economy and what needs to be done has been recycled for but the past 4 or 5 years.
True.
I'm not here to rehash them.
Right.
The government, I believe, has the experts and they know what needs to be done. So if you know what needs to be done and you are not doing it, how do you expect those who are the first people, the people who are directly suffering from your policies, to rally behind you?
Right.
If you are asking me to part with my paltry sum, part of a portion of it for you to manage the economy, and I see the economy being managed in a way that will improve my life, what makes you think that I wouldn't find devices to keep the little that I have for the worst?
So leadership must set the tone.
Of course.
I get it.
Everything is leadership.
Right.
Leadership
it rises
falls.
and yes.
Every other
it rises and falls on
leadership.
leadership. I get it. So we'll come back. So speaking about leadership, we'll find out whether leadership has dealt with this CECILIA Dapaah matter well. Now, Derek, let's get the resignation letter of Madam CECILIA Dapaah, and then also the president's acceptance letter, and that is what would, set the tone for this conversation we're about to have about CECILIA Dapaah and what has happened so far. We know the special prosecutor has moved in and so on. So this is the letter of resignation by Auntie Cecilia. She says, I write to inform you that I wish to, so it's letter of resignation, 22nd July 2023. Mr. President, I write to inform you that I wish to resign from my position as Minister of Sanitation and Water Resources. It has been a great privilege and honor for me to have been given the opportunity to serve in your government, and an even greater honor to have worked to try and bring your great vision for our country to fruition. Since yesterday, Friday, July 21, 2023, social and traditional media have been full of stories about a court case involving a theft that took place last year in the home I live with my husband and a daughter. The stories sought to suggest that I own various huge sums of foreign currencies and millions of Ghana cedis which have been stolen from my home. Whereas I can state emphatically that those figures do not represent correctly what my husband and I reported to the police. I am very much aware of the import of such stories around someone in my position. I am resigning, therefore, because I do not want this matter to become a preoccupation of government and a hindrance to the work of government at such a crucial time. I intend to cooperate fully with all state agencies to enable them fully establish the fact. I have no doubt whatsoever that at the end of the processes, it will be fully established that I have conducted myself with integrity during my period in public service, and I will be fully exonerated from all the allegations that have filled the public domain in the past 24 hours. I thank you, my dear Mr. President, for the honor done me in giving me the opportunity to serve our beautiful nation, Ghana. Sincerely yours, Cecilia, I think it's just sincerely, signed, CECILIA Dapaah, Mrs. We would also, Derek, do we have the president's acceptance letter? Okay, great. So that's it. Sorry, just a second. I just want to come to you.
No, I wanted you to show something on that.
Oh, right. You mean
that,
the name?
The
signature?
No.
Okay.
The letterhead.
The letterhead. Okay. So, Derek, please bring back the letterhead. I think there's a point that Mr. Jackson wants to make with that. So, here we go. So, take it up. So what do you want to point out? So, you have CAB, CECILIA Dapaah, the PO box.
Okay. Come down a bit.
Okay, come down a bit. Okay.
No. Sorry.
Oh, okay. Go back to the top. Please go back to the top. Great.
Why is the spelling?
Okay. CECILIA.
Yes, and at the bottom.
Okay. The spelling is different.
Yes.
Let's see. Let's compare that. Please go up a bit. Let's check that out.
This is a typo.
It's a typo.
That they have ignored. They shouldn't.
Okay, so.
But the question is, who
did that?
Who uses?
So, Derek, let's go to the bottom. Let's
type wrongly.
Right, bottom. Derek, let's go to the bottom of the letter and compare the name of Madame CECILIA Dapaah with what is up there and then what is down here. Okay, so no, please hurry, Derek. Please hurry up. We don't have all the. Okay, Great. Please speed things up, please. Thank you, Mr. President. Sincerely, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so check this one out. So you have CECILIA. Okay. Oh, I get it. No, but it's CECI. Yes.
And then on top is CECE.
Oh, that's true. This is C and then right. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, we talked about it, but I didn't know it had to do with the. But you know there were other letters she had. She had. So it's a weird thing. Okay, so now let's now look at the president's acceptance letter, because that's in itself attracted all kinds of flack and criticisms and so on. So Jubilee House, Republic of Ghana. It says the what's at the top?
Why is the deer in like handwritten and the rest is typed?
Well, it's just maybe perhaps the style of. So 22nd July. So the president. Okay, great. So here we go. So it's the president. So here we go. So I have received dear Cecilia, I have received your letter dated Saturday, 22nd July 2023, resigning from office as Minister for Sanitation and Water Resources and as a member of the government. It is with considerable regret that I accept your resignation and applaud your loyalty to the image and standing of the government. The work you undertook during your period in government was excellent and productive, and I thank you for your wholehearted contribution and devotion to the progress of the government and the nation. I'm confident, like you, at the end of the day, your integrity whilst in office will be fully established. I wish you the very best in your endeavors. Yours sincerely, and that's the president's signature, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, President of the Republic. So now this then sets the tone for this conversation. So after the resignation, the president's accepting her resignation letter, 24 hours later, we saw the special prosecutor moving in. Now, the special prosecutor said it moved in, or the office said it moved in after it received tons of appeals from the public, close to, or not, more than 200. So then he said, well, it looks like this matter is of utmost public interest, and so they moved in. How did they move in? They went to her house and did some search and so on and so forth. And then the report that came out was that some more monies had been uncovered. We don't know how much. Some media houses are reporting millions and so on. We cannot, verify that, or we cannot substantiate those allegations. But some monies apparently were uncovered. Then the special prosecutor then had to come out. Now, Derek, if you have the special prosecutor's office on the preliminary statement that he issued on what it has done with CECILIA Dapaah, wonderful. So now you can see that. At 11:55 GMT, 24th July 2023, CECILIA Dapaah, who resigned from the position of Minister of Sanitation and Water Resources on 22nd July 2023, was placed under arrest by the Office of the Special Prosecutor in respect of suspected corruption and corruption-related offenses regarding large amounts of money and other valuable items reportedly stolen from the residents. Ms. Dapaah is being questioned by authorized officers of the USP and is signed Kisi Ejabeng, Special Prosecutor. But there's another letter where the Special Prosecutor's Office is denying allegations or media reports that some, huge amounts of cash. We don't have that. Okay, that's fine. I think when I find it, I can read it. So, but that's where we are now. But a number of issues have come up, okay? Because whilst the Office of the Special Prosecutor is looking into this matter, we've had all kinds of narratives. In academic parlance, we can say theories, to explain away the source of Madame CECILIA Dapaah's war chest, or the huge amount of monies that we're looking at. So 800,000, there's a 200,000, there's 90-something, there's some 300-something thousand euros, and so on and so forth. Now, there's all kinds of narratives. So my guests are free to interrogate the narratives and whether it makes sense to them. But also a legal question. One, if it's established, for instance, if it's established, for instance, that Madame CECILIA Dapaah for instance, is unable to explain, sufficiently or convincingly how she acquired that wealth, what can the special prosecutor do? And what will be the legal regime on which the special prosecutor is going to do. There are no other legal matters that have arisen since this matter came up. And lawyer Randolph Twumasi-Ankrah will do justice to that. So I'll start with, I'll start with the lawyer. That's Randolph Twumasi-Ankrah. So for you, Randolph, what are the legal issues that arise? First of all, your general thoughts about the case, because the first time we're speaking to you on this. And then for you, what are the legal issues that arise from this case? So you have some time to address us, and then the rest can come in.
Now, I'm struggling to refer to you either as Moro or Awudi.
Anything goes. So
Moro,
my brother. Yeah.
Now, let me deal with the resignation letter, a paragraph in there that I find a bit problematic. And one thing that maybe you haven't paid attention to, the resignation letter is dated 22nd July, 2023.
Right.
2 days before that, an amended charge sheet was filed in the Circuit Court, Accra.
That's true.
Just 2 days, 48 hours.
Okay.
And in that charge sheet, the figures, $1 million, 350,000 euros, $35,000 were all quoted. So within that 48-hour period, the minister in her resignation letter is suggesting that the police got the information she gave to them wrong. Mm-hmm. Don't forget, this is an amended charge sheet, which suggests that an original exists.
True.
And possibly there were some errors or some omissions on that charge sheet. Mm-hmm. So they had to file an amended one. Mm-hmm. And we have this one. Mm-hmm. So we take this as the charge sheet, which she herself, based on her complaint to the police, and based on the investigations by the police, the charges were preferred against the accused persons. Mm-hmm. I am not a police officer. Mr. Jackson is not a police officer. We don't have the powers of the police to investigate, arrest, and charge people.
Okay.
And the police cannot, sitting in their office, imagine or come up with figures for and on behalf of the minister. The police will only put that figure there if it has been given to them.
So based on the statement that she wrote, when she reported the matter to the police.
You see, let me just a bit of procedure. When you go to police to lodge a complaint,
right?
You go, the police officer present or the station officer present listens to you. If you're able to read and write, they give you a form. You write your statement after you sign. If you're unable to read and write, you say what you want to say. The police will reduce it to writing. They will read it over to you in a language you understand, and then you thumbprint or you sign in the presence of a witness. So the statement you give to the police becomes the foundation upon which their investigations will start.
Okay.
And from the facts that were attached to the charge sheet, and when we go to court, you bring the charges. The charges comes with the facts personal to which you have filed the charges. And in those facts, which are carried out from the statement you give to the police, the 1 million and all the figures in here have been captured. So at what point did the police make the mistake? Or at what point did the police misrepresent to the public? Because the minister suggests in her letter that the figures that the police have quoted in the charge sheet are not the figures she gave to the police.
True. It's not a reflection of what she told.
So what are the figures she gave to the police? Why are they? We don't have them. What are the figures she gave to the police? Because police officers don't live in her house with her. They don't live in her bedroom with her. The police officers were sitting in their offices and you came to lodge complaint. So how are you now condemning the police officers indirectly for the figures you gave them which they put out there?
Should the police have come out with the original statement she gave them?
No, this I'm sure are all before the court. You see, the good thing about this is a public record.
Yes.
If you are claiming that the figures you gave to the police are contrary to what has been captured in the charge sheet, in the course of the trial, the accused persons are entitled to full disclosures. We will see it. What was the figure you gave? So you cannot be seen to be contradicting your own case that you've given to the police.
Right.
And you see, the fact that you are contradicting yourself or you seek to be running away from your own figures now calls into question, what do you have to hide? Then it goes into credibility issues. If I believe that my 1 million has been stolen, I will stand by it. I will not, based on public outcry, release a statement that suggests that the police is being untruthful to the public or to the court. Because these are official court documents.
True.
So if you are saying that the figures, the 1 million is not what you told the police, then how did the police come by that figure? And this is a document sanctioned by the Attorney General under the Law Officers Act, which gives some police officers a right to prosecute. So this is an official document. So how did you come by how did the police come by those figures? If you are claiming that the figures are not what you and your husband give to the police.
Okay, so that point, that's
so
point
that raises
one.
an issue.
Okay.
It's either the police are misleading the court, concealing information, or exaggerating events just to achieve a certain end. I don't know.
Right.
I don't know.
Okay.
So the minister could have helped us. In her first statement, she released her first statement before the resignation.
Yes.
Her first statement.
In fact, we even doubted the authenticity of that statement. Remember when
she could have helped us.
You were not here. Yeah.
She could have helped us by telling us what those figures were. Because the moment you deny your own figures, there's a problem.
I get it.
There is a big problem.
Okay.
Oro, I wanted to contribute a question for you.
Okay, sure.
You seem to have a copy of the
Yes.
cash.
Yes.
Can you confirm that she did say that the monies belong to her?
Oh, that is what I'm coming to.
The husband.
That is what I'm coming to. You see,
No, that's a very legitimate
these
point,
are
yeah.
official documents. And once again, I keep making reference to the document because every discussion in law, we have what we call documentary evidence. That which is documented take precedence over any oral communication, unless in exceptional situations. So this is documented. In fact, you gave a statement, police, you signed. Now, the police have preferred charges. And the first charge, you see Patience Botry, 18 years, hairdresser, and it goes on unemployed. Between the period of July and October 2022, at Agbelempe in Greater Accra region, and within the jurisdiction of this court, did agree or act together with common purpose to commit a crime, to which stealing, and it goes to count 2. You did appropriate cash, the sum of $1 million, the property of CECILIA DAPAAH. How would the police have come to the conclusion and put this statement in the charge sheet if you had not told them that the property is yours? I mean, I've heard narratives that it's from funeral donations, it's from the deceased brother, it's from here or whatever. There is nothing that prevents a complainant from disclosing who the actual owner of a property is to the police. It doesn't stop the police from investigating and putting it there. And there's a clear example in even this very charge sheet. Because in one of the charges, the police indicated that Kente and some other personal effects, which are the property of her husband. So there's a clear distinction. If the money was not hers, it would have been stated that $1 million or $800,000 or $200,000, the property of my brother, which was in my possession, has been stolen. But it's not there. So you see, we cannot begin to try to reconstruct the theory when the judicial process have already started.
Right.
Because you have charged people based on a certain facts you presented to the police.
Because when something being in your custody is not the same as yours.
Yes, it's not yours.
Okay, so you're saying that when she went to the police to lodge her complaint, she should have been more specific and clearer in terms of the relationship she has with the money, whether it is actually personally hers or she is only
Exactly.
a keeper.
And the reason
she's keeping it in her custody.
And they say,
why is that important?
It's important because you see, in law, there's something that we call contemporaneous events.
What does that mean?
Or proximity.
Okay.
So the story you tell right after an event happens is more believable than the story you tell after time has lapsed.
Oh.
Because then you've had time to think through it and reconstruct.
Okay.
That is why we believe proximate stories or stories that are proximate to events than the ones that are far remote, unless in very exceptional situations. That is why I am saying that the statement you gave to the police, and don't forget this is an amended one,
right?
Which means the original one is there and contains the same facts.
Okay.
The amended one did not change the facts.
True.
So at what point? And from these facts, there's no mention of a brother. There's no mention of $200,000 being mine, and in fact, the charges don't even talk about $200,000. There is no mention of $600,000 being for my brother, my mother gave to me. There's nothing like that here. So where did that come from? I've heard people say that they've seen charge sheets, but we have not seen it. And those charge sheets are not, are not before the courts, because this is the only charge sheet which was filed today is 29th, just 9 days ago. 9 days ago. And 2 days before she resigned. So at what point in time did the story change? At what point did the story change? And don't forget, the events for which she reported to the police, according to her, took place last year from July to October.
Okay.
And she only reports, and then the last one that they discovered was in June 2023.
True.
When they saw one of the house helps in their bedroom.
Break the sieve.
And then they lodged the complaint in July.
Yep.
Which is also a little proximate to the event, because if you look at when they around 30th or so was ending in July. So we've had a whole over 29 days, and the story for the past 29 days has been the same. So at what point did it change? Is it because the public started showing interest, public started condemning the amount of because of the public outcry, then there was a need to whittle down the effect, so we had to create a new narrative.
So you're saying that the explanations sound post facto?
Oh, it's what we call, we call it an afterthought. This is an afterthought explanation. I mean, the subsequent explanations, or any explanation that is seeking to challenge the figures in the charge sheet, in my view, it's an afterthought.
But does the fact that the persons who are giving us this afterthought explanations are not persons who have been authorized by Madame CECILIA DAPAAH to speak on her behalf makes it, we can throw it out of the window, because they are not official spokespersons for the woman.
I'm not even talking about those persons. I'm talking about her own resignation letter.
Okay.
Where she seems to suggest that the figures here are not accurate.
I get it. Okay, that's what you're referring to.
She is deconstructing her own case.
True.
Do you get it? So the question is, when did your story change? Because when did your story change? You went to the police, and 2 days, and you see, I'm sure this case has started. I don't know. I'm sure the accused person may have applied for bail or whatever it is. So I'm sure in the courts, the facts were read to the court as the facts of the case, of the prosecution's case. And I'm sure the accused person's plea were taken based on these charges.
True.
So the records will show that this is what is before the court. So at what point did it change? That's the question. At what point did it change? That we are saying that the information that is in the public domain, which information is itself, is coming from the charge sheet, is inaccurate.
I get it. It's because you talked about noticeable inconsistencies.
How is it inconsistent? You see, but and in the course of the trial, I'm sure all those information will come out. I am informed that there are about 2 separate statements. One written before this charge sheet was prepared, and one subsequent to the public outcry, wherein all these issues about the brother and all of this were captured. So maybe in the course of it,
but is that normal?
I mean,
I go to police. I have a case report to the police. I write a statement, and then later, based on public,
the police, if investigations are ongoing, and in this charge sheet, and the facts that I see here, normally they'll indicate that here they said the case is still under investigation. So of course, if they are investigation, they can call you to come and give further statements.
Okay, so that it's normal practice.
That would be a further statement, but that statement in itself
not an alteration of the earlier statement.
The previous one.
I see.
It cannot contradict, or it cannot be used as a means to override the original statement you give.
Okay.
If she believes that the story or the premise upon which the prosecution has commenced is wrong, there's nothing that prevents her from discontinuing the case or showing any lack of interest in it, so that the Attorney General will discontinue and she can start afresh with what she believes to be the accurate information. Then we can all follow. But as it stands now, I think it does her a disservice to seek to challenge your own information that you give to the police.
I get it.
And I don't know how that paragraph found itself into her resignation letter.
Can that raise doubts about her case in court? Because the case in court says she's the one who is taking, she's the complainant in this case.
She, from the fact she and her husband.
Yes, she and her husband are complainant. So it may not necessarily matter the fact that she's changed. Or it will depend on a lawyer for the accused.
Yes, I mean that one will be for the lawyer.
Because she would have to establish that the money is actually hers. Because to talk about theft, you would have to prove that it is mine. You came to steal it.
You see.
I don't know. Can you walk us through?
The beauty about this whole thing is,
you've
already claimed ownership of it.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
You have claimed ownership of the money.
Yes.
And you see, once the admission is contained in writing, which is your earlier statement to the police, you admitted that the money belongs to you. So once you've claimed ownership of it, there's no issue about ownership anymore.
Okay.
So now you say your money has been stolen. The accused persons are supposed to answer whether or not they have in law stolen your money. And that's, in fact, it's simply put, when you say you've stolen something, it means that you have taken the thing which is not yours.
Which is not yours.
So it doesn't matter whether it belongs to CECILIA DAPAAH
or not,
or the brother or the husband.
Oh, okay.
The accused person is not the owner of the thing, and they took it without the consent of the owner or the person who has custody of it. So the issue of ownership is not in dispute.
Okay.
That is why I struggle to see why should be issuing statements seeking to challenge ownership of it. In any case, if you look at these 10 or so charges, the brother who is alleged to be the owner of $800 or so $600,000, he's not mentioned anywhere. The story about my mother gave me a box to go and keep, it's not reflected in the facts.
Okay.
Anything, and for me, I'm focusing my discussion on these facts.
Okay.
And anything that is not in the facts should not, in my view, should not hold sway. Because then there are certain facts based on to which we are all having a discussion.
You're a lawyer.
Yes.
When you go to court, does the court adjudicate a matter purely based on what is written, is captured in the documents, and that any other information you want to give the court, tell us about its admissibility or otherwise? For instance, all this explanation about, there were monies that were given by a dead brother and so on and so forth. Is this something that you can come up in court, and will the judges, for instance, accept that kind of explanation as you are sort of in your defense of why you believe that this monies must be retrieved, because this is somebody's money you're keeping in custody, and there's a family integrity crisis and so on and so forth? Is this something you can put out in court?
See, whether it comes up in the court or it doesn't come up, in my view, is irrelevant.
It's irrelevant.
It's irrelevant because the accused persons, according to the facts that presented by the state, have admitted to stealing money.
Okay, so
they took them. So those ones are irrelevant.
Oh, okay, I get it. So it becomes moot. It's a different thing. It's a different thing. They said we're not guilty.
No, you see, they've gone to court. Their pleas have been taken. They pleaded not guilty.
Yes.
But now, when Madam CECILIA DAPAAH mounts the box to give evidence, she is going to more or less rehash what she gave to the police. That the money...
She can't add or subtract.
No, she can't, because you have to give your evidence. She can. Maybe she will try to bring in my brother's money, blah, blah. But the question will be, of what use would that be? That's what I'm saying, that at that point in time, when you mount the box, the issue is not really about who owns the money. Okay. Because your claim is that your brother is dead.
Right.
And dead people don't talk. So who owns the money? It's not really an issue at that point in time, because the accused person cannot say that because the money does not belong to you, you have no right to. It was in my possession. It was in my custody. You took it from my room.
I get it.
So that issue will not arise at all.
I think the issue about the justification of the source of wealth has come up only because of the public outcry. So that's outside of the court. That is not what the court is looking into necessarily.
That will not really be the concern of the court.
But let's come back to what the OSP is doing. Just briefly before I bring in my other resource persons. The OSP has moved in, as we do know. The OSP has put under house arrest. The OSP is interrogating. They are still investigating, and they are more. Well, that's what the.
They said she was under arrest.
She was under arrest. Okay, under arrest. Yes. Okay, that's fine. Now, the special prosecutor wants to establish essentially how she got the money. Now, if what we're hearing is anything to go by, which is that these monies are given to me by my dead brother, does that end the case?
No, you see,
because the special prosecutor is working with law, and that's what you
under the OSP law. You see, it's when we say you have to justify the source of wealth, it's not just any flimsy excuse. It has to be a reasonable justification.
Yeah, but he's dead.
No. I mean,
she's dead.
You have to offer a reasonable justification for the wealth. How you came by it. You just don't come and say it's my brother, and we now have to go and check. We may have to even check what your brother was doing, the receiver. Because you see, in all of this conversation, I have heard narratives to the effect that it was money from the brother's business. You see,
yes.
Businesses are required to file annual returns. Businesses are required to pay taxes on receivables.
Right.
Businesses are required to declare a lot of things, even with the Registrar General Department. So we will have to do all these searches to find out whether indeed all these things. In fact, we can even check your brother's business and to verify the cash flows in the business to see whether any money with that, money the way that sum has ever come into that account.
Okay.
We have to justify all of these things.
Right.
So if we look at all of these things and it doesn't add up, and don't forget, in justifying the wealth, the ill-gotten wealth, or the wealth that you the obligation or the burden is on you. It's not necessarily on the OSP. The OSP says that I have possibly reviewed the records. You're a public officer. Your salary is known. Even if you put together your years of service in the public service, and we look at your salary ranges over, and you don't even touch your salary for every month for a period of 30 years, you will not arrive at the figures you've quoted. So justify to me how you got that money. Before I'll release the money, don't forget the OSP, if you're unable to justify it, has a right to seize the money and forfeit it to the state.
Wow.
So it is not as simple
serious matter.
It's not as simple as we see it. People are putting up stories for my brother. Yes. But you see, you have to subject it to the test of reason, what we call the reasonable man's standard. Would that story make sense to anybody if you put it out there? Are we just going to take because he said it's from your brother and your mother? And unfortunately for you, sad as it is, the people or some of the parties to this so-called transaction of it moving from brother to mother are no more. Condolences to the honorable. So they cannot even testify to the veracity of what she's saying. Now the question is, she and her siblings and you see in law, there's something we call credibility in giving evidence. We have to assess whether the person giving us, you have an interest in the matter, which would induce you to give testimony that is likely to conceal truth or to omit certain relevant information. So if you say that you have a personal stake or interest in the matter, the weight to be attached to your evidence will be less because of your personal interest. So I'm saying this to show that you just don't go to the OSP's office and start putting up ex post facto justifications or afterthought reasonings and say that, it was given by brother. The question will come back to, why didn't you make all these disclosures when you had the opportunity, which was very proximate to when you're reporting to the police?
When I'll tell the person, it doesn't matter. The fact remains that it's not for me, it's for my dead brother.
And what will become the fact?
Then you take it from there.
So now, the fact to be you are contradicting your earlier statement to the police that it belongs to you.
I see. I'll come back to you for you to explain to us what a lifestyle audit is and why the special prosecutor finds it important to conduct a lifestyle audit and how that is germane to the investigations underway. Mrs. Jackson, this is the first time I'm going to speak to you on this, but there are two strands of my questions to you. One, which is, first of all, your initial reaction when you heard about it. And then two, in your presentation, you made mention about how this subculture of hoarding cash in our various homes, whether, foreign or local cash, especially with the foreign cash, impacts on the economy. Now, if you juxtapose this against last year, 2022, and the fact that the economy was in some serious distress, there was talk about the cedi was plummeting, dollar was going out, the cedi was plummeting, and we had the information minister going around telling everybody, look, if you have some dollars, go change it because we need the cedi to strengthen. And to think that our public officers had huge sums of money, foreign currency, close to $1 million US stashed in their homes. As a financial person, I don't know how you took it when you heard the news. And first of all, what are these thoughts were running through your mind? Because you were here, you were in this studio when you're talking about the fact that people were storing cash in their homes and they have to go in, it's not helping the economy, etc., etc. You feel like you've perhaps been vindicated.
There are multiple strands. First of all, when I heard this, my first thing, literally my jaw dropped. I said, whoa, there's going to be a lot going to be happening over the next few days. This news cycle won't end in a day. But think about it, if you keep money outside the banking sector, how is that money going to be available to somebody else who has a need to take it, buy inputs for the business, establish an LC to bring in fuel or any of the other things that we do? So when our IPPs not IPPs. When the bulk oil distributors and co are complaining that there's no money, there's no forex for them to buy, it's because the forex is being hoarded in somebody's home. If the forex was in the bank, it would be available to the economy to be distributed.
But I don't have any. But Big J,
I'm coming.
Okay.
So when you hear that, be it CD, dollar, whatever is not in the bank, the first thing that should occur to you is that, oh, the wheels of the economy that turn, that improve all of us, somebody has stopped the wheels from turning as fast as they could. But you have to ask yourself, why would somebody keep these huge sums of money? First of all, let's rewind. Financial sector cleanup. 2017, 2018. People who had cash in the institutions that were shut down had some difficulty before they got it back. Good. So first of all, the banking sector, the financial sector has been done some damage to its brand. Fast forward, domestic debt exchange program. Those who had their money in cash did not suffer any haircut. Those who had their money in bonds, etc., they lost some money or they lost liquidity. Same period, the CD went from 6 CDs to $1 all the way up to 15 before it dropped. What does that mean? That the CD as a store of value doesn't work. Why would I want to keep CDs? Because the CD as a store of value doesn't work. So on one hand, you damage your financial sector. On the other hand, people will point out to those who held cash, who have not been at risk from all the issues that's going on. So are we surprised people are holding cash? In fact, are we surprised that disregarding how you earned the money, people are changing from CDs to dollar. To hold that money. And maybe this is a symptom of what is going on all around us. That and it may not even necessarily have been illicit cash.
Right.
That anybody who has some cash is changing it to dollar, is changing it to euro, is changing it to whatever currency to hold. What it does is that when it's outside the banking sector, then we have a problem. The central bank says, I want to control inflation. I want to bring down inflation. So I'm going to use interest rates transmitted through the banks to act on it. When the money is not in the banking sector, then it is an exercise in futility. So when we see that our exchange rate is being stubborn, it's persistently high, in spite of the monetary policy rate going up and up and up till it's now 30%.
These are some of the reasons. Interesting.
These are some of the reasons. And so when you hear that there's money outside the banking sector, do not think that it doesn't concern you.
Right.
Do not think that, oh, that is some politician. It should worry you because maybe that's why you are complaining about inflation. And when Lawyer Randolph says you go to the market today and there's a price and you go back to tomato is 5 CDs and you go back is 6 CDs, maybe all this is contributing to what is happening. And we're not talking about a single effect, but different effects that all go to make our lives more difficult, make our lives more expensive. So holding cash is a problem, but it is a legitimate response of persons to the events that have occurred in this economy.
Nana, are you a politician? I mean, my two other resource persons are not. And so I'm going to pose this question to you, even before I take your general comments about what has happened so far since the last time you came here. But there's a lot of talk about the fact that, look, let's call a spade and not a tool for digging. Fact of the matter is that a lot of politicians are holding cash. And they're holding the cash because of the way we do our politics. And then I want this, to that, I want that. People are always lining up in your homes, expecting you to do one form of favor or the other for them. You can't be going to the bank in and out, or you can't be sending money electronically. It's more expensive. And the fact of the matter is that it is a setting lifestyle. This is without prejudice to CECILIA DAPAAH's case. I'm not saying that is what it is, because it is yet to be established. But there's that, for some persons, this matter brings a bigger issue to the fore, which has to do with the way we do our politics. If you don't give, nobody will mind you. Even when it comes to a position you're holding, it will be under threat. Because if you can't pay me for me to add a third wife or a second wife, I won't retain you as a general secretary of the CBP. If I don't come to you and you don't pay my child's school fees, health, just say it's a tall list of things that people come to you. So why are we surprised people are holding cash? When we go to the politicians' house and the kind of monies they give us, where do we think they get the monies from? So, well, I'm not talking about me, sorry, but I'm saying the people who go there to take money. I'm not talking about me. So that's the point I'm making. So that's the reality. And so they can't keep these monies at the banks because it will be flagged.
So the point you are saying is a fact. Well, for me, it's not a fact.
It's not a fact.
I don't keep money in my home.
Okay.
I don't have that kind of money to keep.
Okay.
We need to be very careful. We need to dichotomize between the keeping of $1 million and some CDs.
Some CDs at home.
Let's assume that they stole about 35,000 Ghana CDs.
Okay.
It's Ghana CDs.
It's Ghana CDs.
We are talking about $1 million and more. That is where the issue is. Our currency, the
quantum.
Yes, our CD
and the currency
is struggling. You have such an amount. Granted, it was in the bank.
Okay.
Who would have made any noise? Mm-hmm. Because once it goes to the bank, it will be flagged. They will ask you questions, but if
it won't be out in the public domain.
That's the point. So the fact that she put it in her room for somebody to meddle with it, and she also kept it ajar, as if it didn't really matter.
Okay.
That is problematic.
Okay.
But one concern is that she said there are inconsistencies.
Yes.
But the charge sheet talks about everything that we are saying.
Yes.
There is no untruth in it.
Mm-hmm.
It talks about $1 million.
Yes.
And that is what we are all talking about.
Yes.
It talks about jewelry and all that. Mm-hmm. That's what we are talking about.
Mm-hmm. But it's a bit of a disaggregation of the $1 million, which is $200,000 for her.
Oh, that one me I haven't heard. I have
$800,000 for her brother.
No, that one it's you see, people talk.
Yes.
People are making all manner of allusions to how she got the money.
Yes.
And some people want to be enthusiastic to help because these are not from the charge sheet. These are from.
So you are going to speak strictly from the charge sheet.
Yes, well, that is what it is.
That's official document.
Yes, I mean, if you have to take any information, that is what it is.
Right.
And if there's an amended one, where is the original one?
Mm-hmm.
We should look at both
mm-hmm.
and put it together and compare.
Okay.
That is where we can say whatever we are saying is true or untrue. Mm. It's very, very important. But I do not see any inconsistencies because everything that, we are talking about is in the charge sheet. And significantly is the $1 million.
Right.
On the issue of, you see, we have monetized our politics. Mm-hmm. And gradually it is becoming dangerous. I remember 2020 when we went for our campaign in Jomoro. And we were giving out flyers for our flag bearer. A little boy of about 5 years.
Hey.
Yes, I'm serious about this. 5-year-old. I was walking by my car was moving and I was sharing and talking about CPP. A little boy looked at me and said, Auntie Timothy mo yan kroma for isikana and kroma ti da so no kra mo ntimi mayebi.
Oh wow. At that age?
The 2 CDs.
Yes.
Yes. And anytime we gave the flyer, they threw it away.
See.
So we have monetized our politics so badly and we need to retrace our steps. Otherwise, at the end of the day, we won't find the right kind of people to do politics. Because if you have a lot of integrity, you always have problems with your people.
Right.
Because then we are forced. Look, an MP told me, a member of it's not an MP. We all say an, but it's not. It's a consonant M.
Yep.
A member of parliament told me that to be a member of parliament, you don't need less than $1 million, and that's about 11 million Ghana cedis. Where are you going to get that money from? What kind of business are you doing?
Well, businessmen will support you, won't they?
No, but
if I go to Joe Jackson,
that is where the problem. That is where the problem is. If you support it for free,
there aren't any philanthropic organizations around
to just give you money to throw away.
Well, they believe in you. I mean,
No, but the point is that is it for free? We need to really look at the monetization of our politics. I mean, it is key. People want to stay in politics. Some people don't want to continue again because it is too much for them.
Right.
And why is this so? Because we cannot create opportunities for our constituents because the economy is not running. The wheels of the economy are not running the way it should.
Okay.
So people are not getting jobs and all that. Please, let me come to why people keep money. I did a little analysis. If I am a business person and I had 1 million Ghana cedis somewhere the late 2021, 2022 first quarter, my 1 million Ghana cedis were $157,000
at the time.
Now, if I'm going to do same 1 million, this is $90,000.
Wow.
So if I didn't change it into dollars, I have lost $67,000.
By no fault of yours.
Yeah, by no fault of the economy. By no fault of mine. But if I changed, I would have gained $77,000. And if I change it into CDs, I would get an extra 847.
So your point is that's the incentive for people to convert.
Yes, because you haven't done any business. If you change half of it, 50%, you are making gains.
You're making gains because you can always trust the dollar.
Yes.
Or the dollar to strengthen against the CD.
Because if I change $500,000, I made a gain of 347,000.
So until we restore the CDs,
we need to
strength as a store of value.
It should be a key. I'm surprised these MPs are talking about common fund. They should tell the Minister of Finance to give us a plan, short term, how he is going to ensure with his team that the CD
does not depreciate,
is stable.
Okay.
Because that is the crux of it.
Right.
Now we are talking about CECILIA. There are others who have changed their money into dollars and they are keeping it. Because look at the gains. If I did 500,000 Ghana cedis and I changed at that time, I have made a profit of 347,000 Ghana cedis.
That is true.
I haven't done any business.
That is true.
My money is just sitting in a box somewhere.
Yeah.
And it's safe. Every morning I pray over it that no armed robber will come and touch it. Do you get me? So I have made gains, which is substantial.
That's true. But we're 5 minutes to wrap up on this. How do you respond to persons who say, perhaps we're not being fair to Auntie Cecilia? Because who in their right senses would take a matter like this to the police
yes,
when they know that this matter can end up in the public domain?
It can.
Now, the reason she's confident about taking this matter to the police or to the public, because I call the police the public, is because the person knows that I can justify the source of that money. Perhaps that explains why the president said, I know at the end of the process, your integrity will be restored. Because the president may have perhaps spoken to her, she has explained the source of the wealth, and he's convinced as a lawyer that, look, you don't have any problem. And so I know that at the end of the day, by the time the process is over, you will be fine. So maybe the whole talk about where do you get the money? Yes, it's a legitimate question, but we may not never really get any answer that perhaps those who are suspicious about the source of wealth, those who are suspicious may not necessarily get that kind of answer they're looking for.
My issue is not, you see, people can be rich. You can be rich.
Yes.
You shouldn't frown on wealth.
No.
Because at the moment we frown on wealth, then we are becoming a bit short-sighted.
Right.
You shouldn't frown on wealth.
Okay.
Trump was a very wealthy man when he became a president.
True.
Do you get me?
Okay.
Kennedy Japan wants to be president and he's wealthy. Everybody knows it.
Okay.
Do you get me? People, you should not frown on wealth, but it's always the source of wealth and how you manage your affairs. You understand?
Okay.
So today, Auntie Cecilia has this money. The only issue here is that she has made the drug for too long. There's no need for us to go through OSP. She should come and say that, you see, with that press release, I said that was bad PR.
Yes.
With all these things that she's talking, she should just come and say A, B, C, D, E. That's mine. We should not frown on wealth. Right. You see, what she did that was good is she resigned. Most people will hold on. But what also made me a bit, was wondering what was going on is that it was very unlike of the president to appoint somebody immediately.
Meaning the president may be aware that there was a problem?
No, because, for instance, when Alan Martin resigned, that was a very key ministry.
Yes.
He did not appoint somebody immediately. When the Greek minister resigned, he did not appoint, but this one in days. So what is it?
What was the issue here?
I'm wondering that what is it?
It's the president. He's in a hurry.
Why is he in the Harry Ministry of Sanitation and he wasn't in the Harry Ministry of Trade and Agriculture?
Because it's not difficult to find somebody to replace her. I mean, unlike say the trade ministry.
So it's not a serious ministry.
It's not a serious ministry. No, there were people lining up.
But line for who? Because the point is that cocoa is there. Uncle Joe was saying that we should have a cocoa affairs ministry. Yes. A very important. It took him so long. Okay. And sanitation. And when gender, what is her name? Adjoa Safo resigned. Yes. This Auntie Cecilia was the one who was caretaker. Yes. But in Auntie Cecilia's situation,
it was too quick.
Too quick.
No caretaker.
Yeah, but the president said she's been one of his bright spots.
That is not. But bright spot has left and quickly replaced bright spot. You should look for another bright spot.
Let me read some of the messages that have come through, and then I can go.
I wanted to
just a quick one, because we're running.
You know, the problem with the argument, that I could have made the money legitimately, and the slight problem with that one is that it is in cash.
Yes.
See, if you come to me, and I have $1 million in the bank, right? We can talk. The bank would have flagged me, etc. There are measures already in place. So that is why, if today, Moro, I assure you, if you come to my office with $1 million in a Ghana must go bag, I will tell you, Moro, you know something? I can't take this money. Go and pay it into the bank and give me a check or transfer it.
Yeah, but I prove to you that it's legit money.
How can I know that it is legitimate? Am I investigating?
I can show you a check where I have been paid. No, and I don't cash the money.
Anti-money laundering law enjoins me as a director of the Lex Finance. Says you could go to jail if you bring illicit proceeds. So I assure you, if you can forget $1 million, you've gone too far.
100,000.
$1 million CDs.
You can't take.
Moro, I know you can earn $1 million. It's not a problem. But put it in the bank and bring me and transfer it to me. And that's the very part that is so important in this process. Because you see, all the justifications are fine, right? Except when you hold cash, you open yourself up to so many interpretations.
I agree with you.
But Uncle Joe, I just want to ask you, for instance, the money is for your brother.
Yes.
How did it? How did it come into the country? Because I heard the brother.
That is why I said go and pay it into the
bank. $800,000. Yes, please go ahead. Moro, just a quick one. 1 minute. I beg you.
I mean, Madam Cecilia she was a public servant.
Yeah.
She's still.
I believe that she had an account.
Yeah, she does.
I'm sure the Controller General pays them through accounts.
Yes.
So when she had the money, nothing prevented her.
And she could easily open a dollar account. It's so easy.
But you see, the challenges, like Mr. Jackson said, when you are going to open accounts, or when, you see, you know why banks flag certain transactions on your account? When they look at the history on the account, and such monies have not entered the account before, and they cannot justify how such money has come, they will flag it, refer it to, is it the FIC?
Yes.
You'll be sent to Yoko
Financial Intelligence Center.
You have to now justify it to the states.
So that's why they don't like putting in the account.
You only go to Yoko when the bank, you cannot justify it to the bank. How, yes.
I get it. My name is...
And then little bit here. The law says there are people we call politically exposed persons.
Oh, that makes it worse.
So that one, If CECILIA DAPAAH appeared in my office with $1 million, I say, don't even come, don't even cross my threshold.
So my name is Samuel Okai from Nsakina in the Ghana West Municipality. I have some simple questions I need answers to. Does Madam CECILIA DAPAAH actually indicate a loss of confidence in the banking sector, considering the government's extensive cleanup efforts that resulted in job losses and property damages? 2, is a decision to keep her money suggesting an attempt to evade the e-levy tax? 3, could she be trying to safeguard herself from the adverse effects of the debt restructuring policy? 4, does the acceptance letter, which appears to grant her pre-clearance from the president, raise concern about whether the law is truly ensuring equality before the law? Okay, now this one here is Moro. She went to the police not because she was confident she can explain the source of the money. You have to understand the arrogance of power that now pervades high office in this country. She used the police to elicit the confessions of those who stole the money, showing where power lies. This is not the first example of power being used this way, land grabs, etc. And then the last but one, please, the banks don't allow us to deposit dollars, even in our dollar accounts, and some of these things may happen. And then this one, Moro, good morning. This is changing of fact is plunging her into a deeper hole. Ghanaians are not stupid as they think. They should return the looted Sika to strengthen the mess they've created. Quickly reach it from Dawenya. And then my name is Kojo from Adenta. I want to know, was the accused who stole the CAD's money jailed? If she was, on what charge? If the charge sheet is being changed as being speculated, why then do we have the suspect still in custody? And again, the OSP should be brave enough to let Ghanaians have faith in him in this Abna Dapaah matter. He should not allow the powers that be to cover hair that's coming from Alhaji Haruna in Ashaman. And I'm wondering how the other politicians of some monies in their homes are feeling about what's happening now. These are very trying times to some politicians who have money. And no, we had some politicians. So that's about it. So my name is Aldo Moore. Thanks very much for tuning in to another edition of Inside Pages. And also I want to thank Mr. Joe Jackson of Dalex Finance, Rindolph Chumis-Yankrad, private legal practitioner, and Anaya Ajanta of the CPP. She's the general secretary of the party. Have a good day. Have a great weekend. Bye-bye.